What's up? What's up? What's up, party people? How you guys doing today? It is Friday. Go in the comment box. Tell me, what are you up to this weekend? Friday's my favorite day of the week because there's always the anticipation of the weekend, and the weekend's always a great time to just defrazz and chill out. So I want to know, what do you have planned for this weekend? Today we're going to be talking about antioxidants. We got this thing called flu season, cold and flu season, which is just around the corner. It's August right now. It's soon to be September, and cold and flu season pretty much starts, like now. It's going to go from September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. It could go for another like 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. And so I want to make sure that you guys understand, what are antioxidants? How will they help prepare you to arm your immune system for maximum power during the cold and flu season, and how Alma Green can actually help you get there. So comment box, you let me know. Renee says, shopping for my favorite fruit and vegetables. Awesome. That's a great use of the weekend. I got nothing, no negative comments on that one. That's great. Lee says, I got my Mastering Diabetes book, so I'll be reading this weekend. Now that is a good idea. That's brilliant. Brilliant. Tell me how the book is. I'm curious. I haven't read it yet myself. So when it comes to understanding antioxidants, there's a lot of confusion in the world about what are antioxidants, where can you get them, and why are they beneficial? And the truth is that antioxidants are some of the most powerful compounds that food has to offer. And the way that I like to think about antioxidants is actually pretty darn simple. It's literally, I'm going to draw an analogy to sunscreen. Okay. Antioxidants are to fruits and vegetables what sunscreen is to humans. Now, what the heck does that mean? Okay, here's what this means. Okay, I want you to think of antioxidants as basically being compounds that exist inside of fruits and vegetables that are oftentimes in the skin itself, and that's why they have such bright colors, because antioxidants are pigments, and pigments are expressed as colors in nature. Okay, so antioxidants are pigments. Pigments are expressed as colors. Colors are embedded inside the skin of the fruits and vegetables. And what these colors do is they actually act as catcher's mitts, if you will, literally like a baseball glove for UV radiation that comes in from the outside world. Okay, so what ends up happening is that a tomato, as an example, expresses a red color. And the red color is due to a whole collection of different antioxidants. Lycopene is probably one of the antioxidants that you might have read about or heard about in the news. Okay, so let's just pretend like lycopene is the reason why tomatoes have a red color. And let's say lycopene is being expressed significantly on the skin of tomatoes. Well, what ends up happening is that when the sun, aka UV radiation, hits that tomato, what the UV radiation can do is the UV radiation is required in order to start the photosynthesis process. And photosynthesis is very important because that's how plants manufacture energy, and that's what they use to actually grow and mature over the course of time. But UV radiation, when there's too much of it, which is very easy to happen inside of like very bright environments, is that UV radiation can actually cause direct DNA damage to the cells inside of that fruit. So it can actually cause the fruit to end up having, dysfunctional cells. So the antioxidants are expressed to help protect DNA damage from the sun. Pretty crazy concept, right? So think about it this way. You have millions and billions of these little catcher's mitts that are inside of the skin of a fruit and vegetable. They're actually inside the flesh as well. So that when the UV radiation hits, the UV radiation is trapped by the lycopene. And the lycopene says, all right, cool. I'm going to hold on to you, and I'm going to protect this DNA that's right next to me from getting damaged. Because if I do that, then I can actually keep this tomato alive. If that lycopene wasn't there, then the UV radiation would come in, and it could potentially just bombard the DNA and actually cause a single or double strand break. And when that happens, then all of a sudden you end up with an inflammatory process that could actually kill the tomato. Okay. The same process happens in humans. Now, humans have a pigment inside of their skin, and the pigment is called melanin. Okay, so melanin is inside of, it's inside of the skin on your head, on your face, on your neck, on your chest, on your arms, on your legs, you name it. Okay, and people have different levels of melanin expression. Okay, someone like me, I have like medium dark skin. And what that means is that I express a decent amount of melanin, and the melanin is actually what gives my skin a dark color. Okay, so as you can see on the screen here, right, I have more melanin in my skin than somebody who has a lighter, whiter skin tone. What that means is that if the two of us end up going out into the sun, the person who has more melanin can absorb more UV radiation than the person who has lighter skin. So if I walked into the sun next to my wife, Kylie, who has lighter skin than me, and the two of us were out in the sun for, let's say, half an hour, and we're in Florida and it's 95 degrees outside, I would get less sunburned than Kylie, most likely, because I have more catcher's mitts inside of my skin. I have more things that are able to block and actually to absorb the UV radiation and protect my skin from DNA damage. When your skin gets DNA damage, it's called sunburn. And you felt it before. I felt it before. That's when all of a sudden your skin gets red and it gets hot and it gets tight and it gets itchy. And then those skin cells end up falling off of you because guess what? They're dead, right? Because the UV radiation damaged DNA inside of those cells. And those cells basically went boom and they committed suicide to protect the rest of your skin from becoming cancerous. All right. So humans, we express melanin. That is our primary skin pigment. And if you can think of melanin as basically being an antioxidant, because we are expressing an antioxidant, which is a pigment, and the pigment helps protect us against excess UV radiation. So the process is the same whether you come from fruit and vegetable or they come from humans. And it's really important to understand that these pigments are actually necessary in order to keep the plant alive. Plants that grow in regions of the planet where there's more sun end up with more diverse colors inside of them, because the colors, again, are the things that actually keep those plants alive. It's fascinating biology, and it's something that I just want you guys to make sure you understand, because the next question becomes, well, what the heck? Why do I even want to eat these antioxidants? What are they going to do for me, right? If the antioxidant is there to protect the tomato against dying and to protect that blueberry against dying, well, then what's the point of putting it into my mouth? Okay. Before we get there, let me just go into the comments here, because I've been chit-chatting for a while. Looks like we got a lot of comments coming in. We got Judy Wright coming from Indiana. Marla reading the China study. Good book. Molly says, what's up? Marilyn, hey, from Harrison, New York. Marilyn, good to see you, as always. Judy, love the pumpkin spice on the green. Awesome. I'm glad that you like it. Paula, what's up? Paula's always here every single week. I love it. Paula, you're awesome. Coming in from Palm Beach, Florida. And Diane says, colors make food more appetizing to look at as well, providing those great antioxidants. And that is a true statement as well. Actually, those colors make the fruits and vegetables more attractive to not only human beings, but to other animals. And it's actually a reproductive trait, because if those animals, let's say there's a deer and the deer is kind of walking around in the woods looking for something to eat. If a deer happens to spot something that's colored and the deer goes and eats some berries off of this given tree, then that's actually a reproductive strategy for the tree, for the berry. Because what will happen is that the deer will eat the berries, and the deer will pass the berries through its digestive tract, and the deer will poop somewhere in the near future. And in that poop contains the seed of the berry. And the seed will then go back into the soil and then sprout another tree. So if you're a tree and you want to propagate yourself, well, guess what? Make yourself look attractive and then use animals to carry you elsewhere and poop you out. So that way they can reproduce. You can reproduce yourself. You're just doing it via the digestive system of another animal. It's actually fascinating. The natural world is fascinating. Okay. So the next question becomes, well, great. Why do I want to eat antioxidants? So there's about 1,000 answers to that question, but there's this process called oxidation that happens inside of all tissues at all times. Okay. Oxidation refers to the addition of oxygen. Okay, oxygen floating around in the air. Okay, the air is practically 20% oxygen, about 75% plus nitrogen. Okay, so when you take a deep breath of air in and you do this, right, you go, okay, you take in a lot of nitrogen, you take in a lot of oxygen. Okay, the oxygen then goes into your lungs, and in your alveoli is where oxygen is basically exchanged for carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide out, oxygen in. Oxygen then goes into red blood cells carried around by hemoglobin, and it's passed into other tissues. That oxygen will eventually end up inside of your muscles. It'll end up inside of your eyes. It'll end up inside of your tongue. It'll end up inside of your heart muscle. It'll end up inside of vasculature, you name it. The oxygen goes everywhere. And that's a good thing because all tissues require oxygen because it's required in order to make energy, make ATP. Here's the problem. Oxygen causes oxidation, and oxidation is responsible for aging. So you might think to yourself, all right, cool, sweet. I'm taking in oxygen because it's required for me to be alive. But at the same time, the oxidation process or the consumption of oxygen and the passage of oxygen inside of the tissues actually makes those tissues age. Well, that doesn't seem very smart. Okay. It's true. All tissues age. They age at different rates. They age at different speeds. And the things that you do to your body can determine whether or not a cell or a tissue is aging slowly or aging quickly. Now, oxygen itself is going to make it age, period, end of story, because that's part of biology and that's just the way it is. So what can happen is that when a tissue or a cell actually oxidizes too quickly, then it can end up aging quickly, and it can end up basically shortening its lifespan quickly. So let's just say you're inside of your liver. There's a trillion cells inside of your liver, and these cells are responsible for a whole collection of different, biochemical processes. Let's just say for whatever reason that the cells inside of your liver are aging quickly because you're engaging in activities that are forcing your liver to actually become inflamed. Okay, so yes, breathing oxygen is going to make that happen for sure. But number two, drinking alcohol will make that happen. Smoking cigarettes will make that happen. Eating refined foods will make that happen. Eating a high-fat diet will make that happen. And living in a stress-ridden lifestyle where there's an excess cortisol production will also facilitate this oxidation process. So now your liver is exposed to all these things, and as a result of that, your liver is aging quickly. Okay, your liver has a specific, the cells inside of your liver should be alive for a given period of time. I'm trying to remember the number of months, but it's like 3 to 4 months. But if you are doing things that age that liver quickly, then what ends up happening is that a cell that's supposed to be alive for 4 months now is only alive for 3 months. That's a big change. Or maybe it's alive for like 2.5 months. So now all of a sudden the lifespan of each of these cells is shorter, which means that the whole tissue has to turn itself over and replicate quicker. And quick replication can increase your risk for many types of cancers, and that's not a good thing. So ultimately what you're trying to do is slow down the rate of oxidation, because that slows down the rate of aging of tissues. And when you slow down the rate of aging, then tissues can be alive for a longer period of time, and they don't have to replicate as quickly. And that's actually good because it significantly lowers your risk for tumors and for cancer down the road. So all of this is a good thing. Now, where do antioxidants fit into this equation? Well, when you eat antioxidants from the outside world, you eat that red tomato, you eat those blueberries, you eat those hypercolor green umla berries that have the highest antioxidant content of any berry, any food known to man. What ends up happening is the little catcher's mitts that are there inside of the flesh and inside of the skin that are protecting that fruit against UV radiation. Well, those things go inside of your mouth, and they get inside of your stomach, they get inside of your small intestine, and they get inside of your blood. Once they're inside of your blood, then guess what? They're active biological compounds that you can then absorb, and you can use those antioxidant compounds, and they will also function inside of you. Okay, so not only are they active inside of the actual plant, they're active inside of you. And that's a good thing, because if your liver is turning over quickly and all of a sudden it's aging relatively fast, well, these antioxidants will slow down the aging process, and it'll allow your liver time to live a little bit longer. The same thing happens inside of your respiratory system. Okay, in preparation for cold and flu season. Okay, cold and flu season is basically a time when there's a lot of viruses that propagate throughout society, and they're transmitted from one person to the next at an increasing rate during the winter months, because the viruses can survive better in colder climates than they can in warmer climates. So what that means is that one person gets a virus and they transmit it to 2, 3, 4 people. Those people go transmit it to 2, 3, 4 people, so on and so forth. Before you know it, now all of a sudden this virus is spreading significantly throughout society. Well, if you have been eating an antioxidant-rich diet, now you have all those billions of catcher's mitts that are going to protect you against UV radiation, and they're going to help your liver slow down, and they're going to help arm your immune system to be able to fight off these viruses when you do contract them, because you will contract them. It's just a matter of probability. You will get them at some point. But the question is your immune system armed? Does it have the fighting power to be able to slow down the chance of actually developing symptomology from these viruses? Okay. So ultimately, what I want you to think about is when you eat antioxidants, you are literally eating millions or billions or trillions of tiny little soldiers. And these tiny little soldiers go inside of your mouth, into your blood, and they're there to protect all tissues. They're there to protect your heart, your vasculature, your liver, your kidney, your muscle tissue, your thyroid gland, your adrenal gland, your brain, your eyes, your nervous system, everything. Antioxidants are literally food. They're like soldiers that protect all of these cells across all tissues. And that's a really good thing, because all these tissues get an opportunity to just relax and say, okay, cool, sweet. Help me clean up this damage that's been caused over the course of time. Help me protect myself against viruses, against UV radiation, against the alcohol, against cigarette smoke, against a lack of sleep. Help me recover. And these little catcher's mitts, if you will, or these little soldiers go in and they basically do all the hard work to allow tissues to survive for a longer period of time. I hope this is making sense. Go into the chat box and give me some comments here, because antioxidant biology can be fascinating, but I want to make sure that y'all are understanding this. Diane says, I'm going for blood work soon. Curious to see the effect of amla has on my lipids. Okay. Diane, I'm glad you brought this up, because there's a lot of people who've been writing back to us telling us that their cholesterol level has dropped significantly, specifically their LDL cholesterol. So I'm very curious too. Get your blood work, come back and let me know if your LDL cholesterol has come down, because your LDL cholesterol is the quote unquote bad cholesterol. And that's the stuff that can significantly raise your risk for a cardiac event into the future. Okay. Beth says, because as Charlotte Gerson said, when the body heals, it heals completely. You can't heal one condition and keep two others. Yes. I believe Charlotte Gerson was the one that created the Gerson protocol. And this is actually fantastic. Yeah. So you can think of antioxidants as like one avenue, one mechanism to help tissues, multiple different tissues, survive simultaneously at all times. And that's a really powerful thing that you can do. That it's not expensive. It's not hard to do. You just got to make sure you do it consistently. And Amla Green can help you get there. Now, one of the things that we want to give you guys for free is a smoothie guide. So we've created this guide that shows you how to take the Amla Green tea products. You can even take the Amla Green coffee products and you can stick them into your smoothies, and you can get an extra antioxidant boost if you enjoy making smoothies. So, Michael, I don't know if you're in the background with that smoothie guide, but if you are and you can pull it up, then maybe we could flash it on the screen. The smoothie guide contains multiple different colors of smoothies, different textures of smoothies, different flavors of smoothies, and these things are incredibly tasty. I've tasted every single one of them, and I love them. If you want the smoothie guide, which hopefully we can show on the screen in a second, if possible, just write the word guide, Guide, write it in the chat box, and we'll send it to you for free. It's just our gift to you guys for showing up here and hanging out with us. The smoothie guide is a simple way for you to be able to arm yourself for success and get a lot of antioxidants from food, but then also add Amla Green into those smoothies to boost the antioxidant power so that you can significantly improve your immune system and protect yourself against respiratory viruses, the cold, the flu, COVID, and beyond. So there's a bunch of people writing guide. Okay, awesome. Let me see if I can do this here real quick. I think I got it. Yeah. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if I can do this. Share screen. Okay, here we go. Hopefully you guys can see this smoothie bowls jobber on the screen right here. But this is basically what we're going to give you guys. So beautifully designed by our graphic designer, Mr. Michael Fleming. And here basically you can put together acai bowls if you enjoy eating that. This is my single favorite food on the planet. Okay, you can put together a breakfast power bowl. Fantastic. Okay, You can put together a mame smoothie bowl. I don't know if you guys have ever had a mame smoothie or mame sapote before, but this is one of the greatest foods on the planet. It's like a pink avocado. It's got this like really creamy pink flesh on the inside. It tastes like marzipan. If you guys have ever had that, ugh, it's unbelievable. Okay. You can also make, who knew you could make a smoothie bowl with butternut squash? What the heck? But this one's got basically butternut squash and spinach and mango and peach. It's real tasty. You can also make a watermelon cocoa bowl. Who knew? Who knew? Who knew? Okay. And in each one of these, we're showing you how you can add amla green into them to make them even more antioxidant rich. We'll give you a sweet black cherry and chocolate smoothie bowl. Yum. A strawberry spinach smoothie bowl. Yum. A pumpkin spice warm smoothie bowl. This one's really tasty, especially around the holidays, you know, when Thanksgiving and beyond comes around. And you can find ways to put in, you know, any of the amla green varieties, whether it's the elderberry, which is specifically designed to help fight off respiratory viruses and boost your immune system, whether it's the original flavor, which is the green one that contains green tea, whether it's the pumpkin spice one that just tastes like a pumpkin spice latte and is really good around the holidays, or whether it's the hibiscus flavor. All four of those flavors are present inside the smoothie bowl, and you can add them to any of these smoothies and get a real tasty antioxidant-rich meal every single time. So again, if you want that, write the word guide. We'll get that thing over to you. Okay, a couple questions popped in. Beth says, love, 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 love the elderberry. Amazing. Me too. That makes two of us. That's fantastic. I'm glad that you hear that, or I'll let you like it. Chris said, I cleaned up my diet, quit eating processed foods, been vegan for a decade, but convenience vegan. Reduced my sugar intake and drastically reduced my alcohol consumption, and I haven't been sick since December 2019. That's what I'm talking about, Chris. That's incredible. That's really good work. It goes to show you that there's a very strong connection between the quality of the food that you put in your mouth and the strength of your immune system. And it is an undeniable connection. So I'm glad to see that you haven't been sick in 1, 2, 3, 4 years. That's actually a big deal. And when it comes to preventing against the cold and the flu and respiratory viruses, prevention, prevention, prevention. Do not wait until you first develop the symptomology of a cold or a flu. At that point, it is kind of too late. I want you to start doing this now so that you can protect all tissues on a daily basis. You should be eating antioxidant-rich food 1, 2, 3, 4 times per day, getting amla green into your mouth 1, 2, 3 times per day. When you do that, you arm your blood to be so powerful that by the time you end up encountering a respiratory virus because your neighbor or your friend or that person that came over to dinner party transmitted it to you, it gets inside of your mucous membranes, inside of your eyes, your nose, your mouth. It gets inside of your blood. Boom. You already have the soldiers that are ready to neutralize those, whatever you want to call them, to neutralize that threat. It's very simple, not hard to understand. Prevention is the name of the game. Okay, Molly, I've seen amla powder in the Asian shops here. Is it the same as your amla greens? Molly, the answer is yes and no. It contains the same ingredient, which is the amla berries. The problem is that these amla powders that you get in the Asian grocery stores are very hard to eat because they are so sour. So what we did is we took the amla berry, which is sour by nature, and we combined it with other things like hibiscus or green tea or turmeric and or elderberry, and we made it a pleasurable experience. And by doing that, we also boosted its antioxidant power even more, and we turned it into a tea. So if you want to drink it as a tea, go for it. If you want to get it from the Asian store, go for it. All I care is that you put this stuff in your mouth. That's all I care about. Get it in your mouth and get it on your mouth on a daily basis. Boom. Beth says that is huge, especially through the COVID years. Yes, 100%. Now, COVID is no joke. COVID is a very powerful respiratory virus. And I don't know if you guys have had COVID. I've had COVID twice. The first time I got COVID, it knocked me down. It was tough. Despite that, I have a really strong sort of antioxidant regimen. And then the second time I got it, it really wasn't a big deal because probably there was a difference in the variant that I got the first time versus the variant that I got the second time. Here's the deal. If you can arm yourself to be really, to have a very strong antioxidant content inside of your blood at all times, then by the time these viruses come around, it's no big deal. You're done. You're ready to go. You might get some symptomology, but the symptomology is going to be a fraction of what it would be had you not had an antioxidant-rich blood. So I got to go. This has been super fun. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out here. Comment the word guide if you want that smoothie guide. We'll send it over your way. And in the meantime, make sure you got a great weekend. Get some exercise in. Spend some time in the sun. Don't forget to laugh. have a good time, eat some antioxidant rich food, and I will see you guys here next Friday.